Thought I would do a podcast here to follow up a little bit on the last episode I just released, the Battle of Metaurus, one of the really, really important battles, victory-wise, for the Romans in the Second Punic War. Now, a lot of focus is, of course, on the Battle of Zama, and usually if you go out and type in, top 5 battles of all time for Rome, that one comes up. You won't even see Metaurus, which I think is really sort of surprising to me. And really this one, at least for me, is the most significant battle, because without Metaurus, there probably isn't going to be a Battle of Zama. I think that's a good bet that you would make. And I remember when I was reading about the events before the Battle of Metaurus, in terms of Livy, what he was saying, he kept emphasizing how dangerous this situation was for Rome. Because if Hasdrubal and Hannibal link up in Italy, this is a disaster of epic proportions for the Romans, because now Hannibal has finally got the reinforcements that he so desperately needed. And these would be battle-hardened troops from Spain, many of them, many Iberians, that he definitely would have put to good use. And of course that didn't happen, but I really think this battle was so important. And we can talk about Scipio and everything he did, and obviously I'm not trying to minimize that, but what I am trying to do is just show how important this battle was to the Romans. It really was a big turning point in the war. And a lot of people have focused on the conduct of Hasdrubal and some of the mistakes he made. Some people will say, well, he was lingering up north too long. He should have come down quicker and linked up with Hannibal. And while some of that may be true, I really think we need to focus on the really extraordinary movements by the Roman army, especially by Nero. I mean, to take his army that was situated all the way down in southern Italy and to move them all the way up north in just a matter of a few days. To get up there with little food, little water. They literally dropped all of their baggage, get up to the area around the Metaurus. And what's even more amazing to me is that he was not only able to get up there in a few days, but he also was very competent on the battlefield, his army. And of course, he helped swing the tide at the battle. He took half of his army and was basically able to outflank Hasdrubal's right flank. So really, this was an amazing maneuver. And I don't think there's really anything like that in ancient history. If I was to take a look at modern times, I guess we could compare this to Patton's maneuver at the Battle of the Bulge, where he turns his army around and in 24 hours rushes his army to Bastogne and really helps save the day. The Battle of the Bulge was kind of in the early phases going Germany's way. He gets up there and moves his army, wills his army really to get to Bastogne and save the day. So that would sort of be a modern example that I could think of. Another point I wanted to make was this business about the messengers. I find that very interesting. And one of the things that Hasdrubal will be criticized for is the fact he only sent one set of messengers. And why did he only send one set of messengers? That seems to me a little bit risky, that borders upon gross incompetence. I mean, for me, if I had been Hasdrubal, I would have sent out 10 messengers, maybe 8 with fake orders, 2 with good orders, the real orders, and sent multiple groups out, because that way, if 1 or 2 are picked off, maybe the other one will get through. But if you read Livy, it seems he only sent 1 set of messengers out. And that's all we have to go on is Livy's account here, because unfortunately, most of Polybius's account on this battle have been lost to history, unfortunately. I'd love to have it, but we don't. And of course, Polybius is the contemporary, Livy is not. That's not to take anything away from Livy. He's one of my favorite ancient Roman chroniclers. But again, I have to think that Hasdrubal did send out multiple messengers and that Livy just failed to mention it. But of course, all we have to go on is the fact that Hasdrubal sent out a single set. But again, that would seem like a rather risky proposition. The other thing that gets talked about, of course, is what is Hannibal doing during these few weeks? What is he doing down in southern Italy? How come he didn't follow Nero all the way up to the battle? What is he doing? And of course, Livy is very silent on this as well. He doesn't say a lot. In fact, he says almost nothing. But in Hannibal's defense, he is trying to lose Nero. He's not trying to follow Nero up north. He was trying to lose him. So, of course, when Nero broke off his pursuit, I'm sure Hannibal was more than happy to see him go. Because we have to remember, Hannibal doesn't have the foresight that Nero does. He doesn't know that those messengers have been intercepted. He doesn't know what his brother's plans are. So, of course, from his frame of mind, he's going to sit there and wait for messengers, and of course, that never came. And it was just bad luck that some random Roman foraging party would pick off those messengers. But that's the way most wars go. It's usually these random events that can swing the tide. It's really amazing how that works. You can plan out a battle. You can plan everything out. Cross all your T's, dot all your I's. But it's usually these things that you didn't plan for, these random events that can swing everything. Something that comes to mind would be Pericles. He had a nice plan against the Spartans. And, of course, he gets everybody bottled up in Athens, but what he didn't account for was the plague that broke out. How could he have accounted for that? And there's one thing I did not mention, by the way, in the regular video, and that is after Nero and Livius defeated Hasdrubal, the Romans were able to find Hasdrubal's body, and they severed his head off, and when Nero made contact with Hannibal again down south, he had some soldiers gallop up to Hannibal's camp and throw his head into the camp. Rather brutal act, but we have to remember that Hannibal had caused a lot of destruction in Italy. Hundreds of thousands of Roman soldiers and citizens were dead because of his invasion, so there probably was not a lot of love for Hannibal during those days. Okay, that's going to do it for this podcast. As always, thanks for listening.